Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm really excited about this quilt project because it is very fast and really easy to do. So if you are a beginner, this is a great project for you to start out with. So let's take a look at this jelly roll strip quilt. Isn't this pretty? As you can see, it's just strip after strip stitched on in a particular order, and it's going to be whatever order you want. And all of the strips are pre-cut that you get out of a jelly roll pack. What's nice about this quilt is the strips, the cotton batting, and your fabric on the back are all stitched together at the same time. So it's a really fast project. So let's take a look at a jelly roll in case you don't know what one is. Here it is. It's 2.5-inch wide strips that are rolled up in this jelly roll, and all of the colors are coordinated for you, so you don't have to sit there and wonder if your colors are going to work together. They've taken all of the guesswork out of it for you. So let's talk about some suggestions for different size quilts that you can make out of your jelly roll packs. If you wanted to make a small baby quilt, just a little one, you could make it 30 inches wide by 40 inches long. You would need 20 strips, which is one jelly roll. Now, you want to cut your fabric for the back and your cotton batting this size, 30 inch by 40. Now, if you wanted to make a larger crib one, you could make it 35 inches by 46 inches, and again you would cut out your fabric for the back and your cotton batting 35 by 46. You're going to need 23 strips. Now if you wanted to make a lap quilt, you could make it 40 inches by 60, and again this is the size you would cut your cotton batting and fabric out for the back, and you would need 30 strips, and so therefore you would need 1.5 jelly rolls. You can save the other half for another project. Okay, so once you cut out your fabric for the back and the cotton batting, you're going to place that fabric down, your backing fabric. Place the pretty side down, the front side of the fabric facing down. You're looking at the back of the fabric. Then place your cotton batting on top and smooth it out and line up all your edges. Then place safety pins scattered all over to hold those two pieces of fabric together. Now you want to unroll your jelly pack, and we're going to come over here, Mr. Cameraman, and you're going to lay out your strips in an order that you would like them to be stitched on. And I recommend that you don't keep two darks together or two lights or two mediums together. Kind of spread it out. So you could start out with a light, a dark, a medium, a light, a medium, a dark. You can just keep on going down. Once you've laid out all the strips from the jelly roll, then what you would do is when you're stitching them on, you would start up here and keep stitching them on in this order. When you got down to the last row that's in your pack, then you would come back up here to the top, pick up this one again, and continue on stitching them together. And you'll see what I mean as we go along. Now to get started, you want to take your first two jelly roll strips up here, and you want to bring them facing each other. So bring your front sides of the strips together and line up the edges. Then take these two strips, we're going to come over here, and you're going to place them on the top edge of your cotton batting and fabric for the back, okay? And you're going to line it up on this edge up here. Then go ahead and take straight pins and place the straight pins all the way across. Then you're going to stitch 1/4 inch from the raw edge here. Come in and stitch 1/4 inch all the way to the other side. Then when you're done, you're going to go to your ironing board. And I recommend when you're going to go to your ironing board that you roll up the edge of your quilt, especially if it's a long one, so that it's easier to carry it over there and easier to press, so you don't have to keep rolling and unrolling it, okay? So now I'm going to show you how I recommend that you should press it. Now, one thing that you don't want to do is zoom across like this, because you will wind up with all kinds of wrinkles in that strip. So what I recommend is set it down for a second or two, lift, set it down, lift, set it down. All you're doing is setting that seam, flattening that seam out. Then unfold it. So now you see both front sides of your strips. Now you're going to start in the middle, and you want to gently push against this seam right here. Don't stretch the fabric and go down. Now you want to start in the middle, push against it, continue down one side, go all the way to the end, then start back in the middle and continue going down the other side, okay? You'll find that it'll turn out much better that way. Now you want to continue on with your strips. Take your next jelly roll strip, just one. Here's the front of the fabric. Turn it over and line it up on the edge of this previously put on strip, which was my green. Going to line it up on there. Go ahead and pin it down all the way across and stitch 1/4 inch from this raw edge all the way across. Then again, go back to your ironing board and again, just set it down, lift, set it down, lift, all the way across. Then unfold your strip, and then starting in the middle again, push against that seam, go down one side, come back to the middle, pushing against that seam and finishing the other half. You're going to complete this process until you get all the way to the end of your cotton batting and backing fabric. So let me set this aside. So now let's look at my pretend quilt here. Okay. Now a recommendation that I have is, let's say you decided to do the big lap quilt. When I cut out my fabric for the back and the cut and batting, sometimes I will cut it a few inches longer, because when you're working on that size is that you might lose or gain a little bit depending on how wide you make your seams. Maybe one row was exactly 1/4 inch, another row was slightly smaller than 1/4 inch, and another one was slightly bigger than 1/4 inch. You may or may not have any fabric at the bottom here. So when you're doing that big one, to ensure that you've got enough, maybe add a couple of inches, because you can always cut it off. So if that's your case, you have a little extra at the bottom there, line up your rotary cutting ruler along the edge of your last strip, and then with your rotary cutter, go ahead and trim that edge off. Now you want to turn your quilt over. Okay? Now you're going to trim all of this stuff off on this edge. This is any selvage edges or any little overhang that will probably be there. Go ahead and line your ruler up again on the edge of your backing fabric, which in my case is the blue fabric. And then again, with your rotary cutter, you're going to trim that off. Okay? Then go over to the other side. Let me get this out of the way. And do the same thing. Line up that ruler on the edge and trim it all off. Now your quilt is ready for binding. And if you're a beginner and you don't know what binding is, this green and white polka dot fabric here is the binding. I'm going to turn it over so you can see the back. This covers up all of the raw edges on your quilt. Now, if you don't know how to put this binding on, then click on the link in the upper right-hand corner for detailed instructions on how to put your binding on. It's really not that difficult. I know it may look hard, but it's really not. And then when you're done, you've got this beautiful quilt that's hanging up behind me here. This is the strip quilt. Isn't that gorgeous? And it was really fun and really easy. It was one of those really relaxing projects, okay? Now, if you want to learn more about what the Sewing Room channel has to offer, go to our home page. We have well over 120 videos or so on all types of quilting projects, novelty projects. There's pot holders, table runners, toaster cover, oven mitts, just everything is there, and lots of other baby projects if you're interested in that. So in the little YouTube search block by your screen here, enter the words The Sewing Room Channel. It'll take you to our home page. Everything's listed in categories, real easy to go through. Now, to keep informed on all my future videos, because I have lots of videos all the time, click on one of the subscribe buttons. There's one down here in the lower right hand corner and one in the upper left hand corner, little round picture of my face. Click on either one of those and YouTube will prompt you for your email address. Enter that information, and the next time I have a new video, YouTube sends you a very brief email with a big button in the center. You click on that video and it takes you directly to my latest video. I'm Cheryl and I'm really glad you came to my sewing room. Now I'll see you next time, and happy sewing.